Hey, what's up guys, it's Alejandro here, and today we're going to be talking about the Wonderlust keynote that Apple had back in like 2 weeks ago, pretty much. In this keynote, we got 2 new Apple Watch models and 4 new iPhone models. Let's look into it. So the first Apple product that was announced was the Apple Watch Series 9. There wasn't really a whole lot of crazy new features with this one, but there was one major thing, and it's the fact that it's the very first carbon neutral product. You notice how recently Apple's been talking about how much they care about the environment and they're good people and they're gonna save the world. Well, this is another step closer to their 2030 goal, which is to make all products carbon neutral by 2030. A lot of other companies are also working towards the same goal, and that's why you hear so much about the environment nowadays. Because as we proceed to grow up, we start to realize how important the world really is. Back then, they were very ignorant about that stuff. That's why a lot of the stuff that we do is bad for the environment, because we didn't know it was bad for the environment. We just did it because, you know, it's natural for us. This is going to be a big step in making a change. It's good to hear that. They also made some carbon neutral bands, and they replaced the leather bands and cases with fine woven. Now, I'm not sure how good fine woven is because I have not seen it in person yet, but even if to most people it's leather's better, but environmental wise, fine woven saves the day. Just like every other yearly upgrade, we get a new chip, and this new chip enables a new feature called double tap. So basically, if your hands are full, you can just double tap. It'll do what you need to do. You can play music, pause music, answer phone calls, open notifications, and so much more. As long as it's October or later, because this is not available. If you got the Apple Watch Series 9 already, you're not going to be able to play with this feature, pal. You just got to wait a little bit. The displays also got brighter. So instead of the usual 1000 nits peak brightness, they bumped it up to 2000 nits peak brightness, which was also on the Apple Watch Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro. Also in low light situations, it can dim down to just 1 nit, which is pretty insane. So this is like one of the few features that I'm kind of sad that I'm going to miss out on. I didn't really care about the double tap thing. It's not really that big of a deal to me, but this one, RIP. Siri is also 25% more accurate than ever, and you can now have more control over your Homepod with an Apple Watch. One of the few features I'm actually kind of sad that I'm missing out on is precision finding, which is enabled by the 2nd generation ultra wideband chip. This will help you find your iPhone, showing its approximate location and distance and direction. This was already a thing with the iPhone 12 when the AirTag came out. Now it will work on the Apple Watch Series 9. So the Apple Watch Series 9 is going to be the exact same price as last year. $399 for the 41mm aluminum, $429 for the 45mm aluminum, and an extra $100 if you want all those cellular features. I don't have that, so I don't have the little red circle on my digital crown. $699 for the 41mm stainless steel and $749 for the 45mm stainless steel. So yeah, me personally, I'm going to stick to my Apple Watch Series 8 for a couple more years because it's still pretty good. I don't really have a problem with it, so yeah. So we have the new Apple Watch Ultra 2. But if you have an Apple Watch Ultra 1, people are not going to know whether you have a 1 or 2. So don't worry about it. It also has some of the same features as the Series 9 because it shares the same chipset. The display is also 1000 nits brighter than last year. It was 2000 nits, now it's 3000 nits. Like, goddamn, was 2000 just not enough? Like, holy shit, what kind of situation do you need 3000 nits for? Just like the Series 9, it also dims down to just 1 nit in low light situations. Battery life with the Apple Watch Ultra is pretty much the same. But with low power mode, it gets an extra 12 hours of battery life compared to last year. It also has up to 17 hours of workout use in low power mode. The Apple Watch Ultra 2 is also carbon neutral, and they made new carbon neutral bands, that being the Alpine Loop and the Trail Loop. The Ocean Band doesn't happen to be carbon neutral though. It doesn't have like the little indicator there. The GPS on the Apple Watch Ultra is much more accurate than the previous Apple Watch, which will make it better for athletes who want the most precise measurements. They also claim it's better than every sports watch out there. It's also way better in the ocean. In fact, it's so good that it's EN 13319 certified. What does that mean? Well, it means that it can handle diving, and it's the standard for most diving accessories. Apple collaborated with Huge Outdoors to make a new app called Oceanic Plus. It was made for recreational snorkeling, scuba diving, and free diving, which is a new feature, down to 40 meters. It has all the core features that divers need, and it's very easy to use. The Apple Watch Ultra still goes for the exact same price as last year's model, $799. If you have the Apple Watch Ultra 1 and you're fine with the features it has, well, you can stick with it. But if any of these features are very much needed to you, go right for it, man. Same applies to the Series 9 if there's something that you really want. The iPhone 14 wasn't really too exciting to me in my opinion. There wasn't really anything new or crazy compared to the iPhone 13. It was mostly the same. And this year, the real iPhone 14 came out. If this came out last year, there would have been way less backlash. So basically, this iPhone 15 has Dynamic Island and a 48 megapixel camera, just like the iPhone 14 Pro from last year. It also has a USB-C port, which is completely new. Yeah, they stopped using the Lightning port that they've been using since the iPhone 5 back in 2012. And we all know how that was. It was bad. However, don't get too excited because it's USB 2 speed still. So for the iPhone 15, it's not going to be that much different. But you'll at least be able to charge your iPad or your MacBook with all the same cord. The iPhone 15 also has a new design. Instead of being completely flat, the edges are slightly rounded to make the phone feel more comfortable in the hands. The glass back is also similar to the Pro models. Usually, for the cheaper models, the glass back is mostly glossy, and around the camera it's frosted. Now it's the complete opposite, with the whole back being frosted and around the camera being glossy. So I think that design looks way better. It makes the phone feel more premium. Speaking of the camera, it is now 48 megapixels, which I guess enables some sort of telephoto capabilities because it has 2 times optical zoom, just like the iPhone 7 Plus and up to the 12 Pro. Even there's like a massive difference in quality. That also means it can zoom up to 10 times. That's kind of interesting, kind of weird, but cool, I guess. There's not a single telephoto camera, yet it can do telephoto. And now you can also take portrait mode pictures without switching to portrait mode. And after taking the picture, you can edit it. And portrait mode's still there. The actual mode itself, still switch to it even though you don't have to do it, but it's still there anyway, because why not? They also improved the battery life, but they compared it to the iPhone 12 instead of the iPhone 14 or even the 13. And this makes sense because most people on average don't upgrade every single year. Instead, they upgrade every 2 to 3 years. But the rich technology reviewer YouTubers upgrade every single year, and I'm still using this thing. The difference is probably not that big if you compare it to the 14, at least in battery life, but in everything else I think there's a lot of big differences. But yeah, but usually they would compare it to last year's model, not 3 years ago's model. The iPhone 15 uses the A16 Bionic chip, which was used in the iPhone 14 Pro, which is strange because with this iPhone 15, it has some capabilities that for some reason can't be enabled on last year's iPhone. Kind of like with the iPhone 14 where there were some features that they mentioned the chip being somewhat involved, yet we can't have these features. I can't have the iPhone 14 features on an iPhone 13 Pro. Like, come on, bro. It's not fair. Maybe it's more than just the chip. Maybe it's like the actual camera hardware. I don't know. But that's just my guess. With the new features that have been enabled are 24 megapixel photos, which is pretty interesting. I think that's like a 2 times crop or something. I don't know. And next-gen portraits and voice isolation for phone calls. Last year we got new safety features such as crash detection and emergency SOS via satellite. This year they introduced roadside assistance via satellite. It'll be very useful if you have a flat tire or dead battery and you're also in the middle of nowhere. Okay, this wasn't really in the script, but I just remembered. The display is still 60 Hertz, and that makes a lot of people mad because similarly priced Android phones are already like 120 or maybe like at least 90. So this is probably the most expensive phone that has a 60 Hertz display. And why is Apple still sticking with a 60 Hertz display? Well, maybe it's because the average person probably would not notice or really care that much about refresh rate. 60 Hertz is not really that bad as long as you don't have some idiot yelling in your ear that it's bad. And bro, 120 Hertz is obviously way better. Bro, check out my 165 Hertz monitor. Oh no, that's not good enough, bro. I got a 240 Hertz monitor. Oh, y'all guys, y'all motherfuckers are weak, bro. I got a 360 Hertz monitor, bro. Y'all are nothing, bro. Y'all are dead, bro. I don't know why y'all trying to battle me, bro. I'm the toughest motherfucker in the game, bro. You know, that kind of shit. Like, most people probably don't care about that. It's just gamers that do, alright? Gamers love that high refresh rate, but to most people, it doesn't matter. They probably rocking on low power mode all day till they don't even notice it. Their phone is in 60 hertz. You can turn off ProMotion. Oh yeah, speaking of that, ProMotion. Pro isn't the name, so there ain't no way in hell you're getting 120 hertz on a regular phone. The iPhone 15 and 15 Plus are the exact same price as last year, so that means $799 for the 15 and $899 for the 15 Plus. Available in 5 new colors, although none of them are product red or white or starlight. Unless we count that blue color, which is barely even blue and looks more white than actually blue. For some reason, Apple likes to brighten up their colors, and it's not a small difference, alright? This is a pretty big difference, alright? I mean, if you look at the blue on the iPhone 12, it was pretty dark. And then over time, it progressively got a little bit lighter. I mean, 13 Pro, okay, it's fine. 14, okay, well, it kind of looks like my 13 Pro, I guess, so it's cool. The 15, it's barely blue. There's like no hint of blue. It's just mostly white. It's more white than it is blue. It doesn't make sense. But I will admit the pink color does look better than the 13's pink. And the green color looks about the same as the 12. The other colors, they're decent. I like the black one. I think the black one's pretty okay. But the blue and the yellow, those are pretty bland. I don't really like those colors that much. So I was pretty excited about the iPhone 15 Pro. Matter of fact, I was so excited, like the moment I saw it get revealed, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get this phone. But after some time, I kind of changed my mind because, you know, my iPhone 13 Pro is still good. Probably like one more year and I'll be fine. So yeah, I've only had this iPhone 13 Pro for a year and a month, so it would kind of be stupid to upgrade after that. I mean, the phone's just fine, alright? Usually, maybe like a minimum of 2 years, the lowest I'm going before upgrading, but the maximum, 3, bro. I'm not going over 3 years with the same phone. That's crazy, bro. I changed my mind, but I mean, there were some things that I really liked about the 15 Pro, and it was the fact that the new design, titanium, and the rounded edges, because this is pretty sharp. I don't really like how this feels caseless. Usually I wear a case, and I think everyone should wear a case, even if they love the feel of the brand new iPhone. Always wear a case. I don't care if you love the feel of the screen. Wear a screen protector, bro. You need a screen protector. Otherwise, it's just gonna be scratched up and everything. So you don't want that. Speaking of the new design, there's been a lot of issues with like durability, and that was after I changed my mind. I didn't know how weak it was, but now that I know it's weak, I for sure as hell am not going to get that, because why should I get a phone that's less durable than this? Like, come on, man. That doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, and also apparently it's lighter than the stainless steel body phones, because you know the stainless steel phones are pretty heavy. The iPhone 15 Pro gets a completely new chip, and it does not end with Bionic like the other ones have since the A11, I believe. This is the A17 Pro, which can apparently handle ray tracing up to 4 times faster than the A16 Bionic. Yeah, I had no idea that ray tracing was associated with iPhones, and I imagine that shit's gonna be getting really hot. I mean, ray tracing on a device that's like this small, really, like, come on, bro. Crazy. But yeah, there has been some overheating issues just off of regular use. If that's just off of normal use, imagine what happens when you load up a game, bro. You're gonna have to say bye-bye to iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max. This is the Note 7 all over again. Goddamn. The iPhone 15 Pros also have the very same features that were with the iPhone 15, but it also has its own exclusive features. So in one-time zoom, you can change the focal length. There's 4 different ones, and you could just do it just by tapping the 1 times button. But the iPhone 15 Pro Max has its very own telephoto camera. It's basically like a 5 times telephoto camera, while the smaller Pro is just 3 times. So yeah, the 15 Pro Max can zoom up to 25 times. It did the same thing with the 12 Pro Max, where the bigger phone had the better telephoto camera. And then the next year after that, Pro and Pro Max had the same telephoto camera, so that's why the cameras got so big all of a sudden. So if you compare it to an iPhone 12 Pro, you'll notice the difference. This is what made me change my mind, because I was actually considering upgrading as soon as I saw the phone. Until I realized, you know, the smaller 15 Pro does not have the same telephoto camera. And it's going to be the same thing, so I'm going to miss out on this one. I don't have any regrets, alright? I'm going to keep my iPhone 13 Pro for another year. Also, you can record spatial videos with the wide and ultra-wide camera together and relive them in Apple Vision Pro. And just to remind you, the Apple Vision Pro is real and it's going to happen, so just in case if you forgot, alright? It's coming out sometime in 2024. They also removed the ringer switch and replaced it with the action button, which by default is the mute switch without switching. But it can be changed. It could be used for focus, camera, flashlight, voice memo, translate, magnifier, shortcut, and accessibility. I don't really care about this feature that much. I would probably just leave it on the ringer by default. Because now that I'm in school, it's more important than ever to have it on silent mode. And I don't think most people are actually going to utilize this feature and like change it. They're just going to keep it the same. The iPhone 15 Pro also has a USB-C port, but unlike the iPhone 15, it can actually support USB 3, which makes file transfers up to 20 times faster. I like this feature because as someone who used to record on an iPhone, the Lightning port transfer speeds were very slow. What do you expect from a cable that was made exclusively for the iPhone 5 back in 2012? Back then, you know, iPhones, people weren't really using them a whole lot for like professional level stuff. Nowadays, people are trying to use their iPhone to make a new movie or some shit. Well, actually, apparently it's able to do it very well because, you know, it's done by actual professionals. I mean, someone like me could never make like a good movie just with this phone because I'm not a professional filmmaker. Although you've seen me try to do that though, if you've seen those 2 short films. But anyone that has used their iPhone for stuff like that, exporting it to PC or Mac, they will all agree that the transfer speeds are very slow. But Apple's not making this change because they care about you. They're not making this out of the kindness of their hearts. They're making this change because the EU forced them to do it, but they completely avoided mentioning that. So basically, the EU wants everything to be USB-C by 2024. They're basically forcing every tech company to comply, use USB-C on their products. Apple's like the last ones to do it. All the Android manufacturers, they were already doing that. Despite these massive and demanding hardware upgrades, the iPhones still get all-day battery life. Once again, they're compared to the iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max, because once again, Apple's fully aware that most users do not upgrade every single year. So they're not going to compare it to the last year's iPhone. It probably wouldn't even be that big of a difference anyway. The iPhone 15 and 15 Pro Max still go for the same price as last year. Although the iPhone 15 Pro Max, there is no 128GB model, which would have usually went for $1099, but it's just 256GB model. But for the 15 Pro, the regular one, it's still going to be the same price, $999 for 128GB model, $1199 for the 256GB model, which is not really a price increase. There have been rumors saying that the price was gonna increase. No, it wasn't. They just removed the option. So last year, a 256GB iPhone 14 Pro Max costed the exact same. So what do you guys think about this keynote? Which product are you most interested in? Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Make sure to leave some comments down below, and goodbye.